to Willowbank Raceway in Ipswich. I'm Rob Oberg and you're watching Wreckers Hotline Drag Racing 98. On today's show we're going to be bringing you all of the highlights of the Caltex Ampol Car Care Nightfire Championships. It's an Australian drag racing series round, and Paul Casos looking at qualifying this afternoon. I think we're in for a great event.
Well, it's certainly shaping up that way, Rob. There's been plenty of great runs already, and as the sun goes down, these cars are going to get really fast. All the drivers and riders are trying to earn valuable Australian Championship points, and this is their last chance before the final round at the Conoco Internationals in June, so there'll be some pretty tough racing here tonight.
Well, the feature category at the Car Care Nightfire Championships is Travel Air Tours Top Alcohol. What's alcohol got to do with drag racing? Well, it's the burning in engines kind, not the drinking type. Tanya Campbell's got the full story.
Thanks, Rob. Top Alcohol Eliminator is all about the fuel that's used. Made up of a mixture of dragsters and funny cars, it's the second fastest category of championship drag racing held here at Willowbank Raceway. Like their cousins in Top Fuel, they run very similar engines. The big difference is in the fuel they use. Unlike the highly volatile nitromethane used to produce the 5,500 horsepower top fuelers, these cars run on methanol, or more correctly known, methyl alcohol, hence the name of the category, Top Alcohol. Despite the difference in fuel, these cars are still capable of producing almost 3,000 horsepower. Engine sizes vary from around 7.5 litres in the dragsters up to 9 litres in the funny car, which makes, of course, the funny car more powerful with a bigger engine, but it's also a lot heavier. It's this balancing act between horsepower and weight between the dragsters and funny cars that's been designed to even up the competition between two completely different types of vehicle. And the result? Well, it's 5-second passes at almost 400 kilometres an hour and only a mere thousandth of a second sometime between a win or a loss. And by the way, Rob, the only alcohol here is consumed by the fuel tanks. A strict zero blood alcohol reading is demanded and enforced by the Australian National Drag Racing Association. So all those celebratory drinks, well, they'll have to wait until much later on.
Thanks, Tanya. Also on today's show, plenty of racing action from Crower Competition, Crane Cam Superstock, Wreckers Hotline Top Comp, plus all the finals. I go behind the wheel to take a look at the Super Street and Super Sedan classes, and Tanya goes behind the scenes to keep us up to date with what's happening around the pits. So settle back, strap yourself in, and enjoy Wreckers Hotline Drag Racing 98.
So getting underway now with the first round of Travel Air Tours Top Alcohol.
Dean Oakey up from Sydney in the American Auto Parts Dragster. He'll take on championship leader and top qualifier Gary Phillips for Lucas Oils. Oakey recently extended this car. It's an ex-Top Fuel car. Now it's been lengthened to accommodate a 3-speed transmission of the type that, everybody uses in Top Alcohol.
Yeah, Gary Phillips, a multiple Australian Top Alcohol champion. In fact, he's really had a winning streak this year. Just recently at Calder Raceway in Victoria, taking out the national championships down there. And this time taking on Dean Oakey. And Rob, it's a long time since, in fact, we've seen Dean Oakey at Willowbank Raceway.
Yeah, I think just his second trip up here with this car. And, if Gary Phillips can defeat Dean Oakey in this first round race, that will give him an unbeatable lead in the Australian Top Alcohol Championship. And I've just about lost count. I think that'll be his 6th title out of 8. So unbelievable record. Oakey's out in front of him. Oakey's now got a problem. Hey, Phillips close to the sideline. 588, 367 kilometres an hour. Let's have a look at it on the replay. If you touch that sideline, you are disqualified. Onto it with the rear wheel there, I'd say, but we'll have to leave that to the Andrew officials, and we'll see who comes out later.
Stan Tyndall now, and Stan Tyndall out of New South Wales driving the Spinola Dragster, and this is a pretty new car to Willowbank Raceway. In fact, only the second meeting that we've seen Stan, and of course Stan Tyndall famous for that wheel stand at last year's Winter Nationals.
Well, Tyndall's supposed to be running Harker, but the Harker Transport funny car sitting there rather idle. It hasn't started. I don't know whether Steve's got a problem or not, but it looks like so far Stan Tyndall's the only Top Alcohol car we're seeing.
Yeah, problems there, so waiting to see if Steve Harker comes to the line, but Stan Tyndall just creeping forward. No problems there for Harker, so...
Stan Tyndall on a solo. He'll bring the revs up around 2,500 horsepower maybe from some of these Top Alcohol engines. running it through pretty quick, and hey, big flash of flame. He's got a problem. 687, 262. He's got the win, but that looked fairly terminal. Bit of a fire still.
Carnage continues out here today at Willowbank Raceway. Gee whiz, we had in qualifying Mark Brew and Wayne Newby having trouble with their car, but not here for Stephen Reid. He's had a good qualifying afternoon and setting down a big burnout here in racing tonight.
Yeah, Stephen Reid was actually slotted to race against Wayne Newby, but Wayne hasn't been able to repair his car. Ran well in qualifying this afternoon, but, well, just not the right night for Top Alcohol, I'd suggest. Travel Air Tours Top Alcohol now down to, well, just a handful of cars. Stephen Reid, though, running very strongly in this Reid Transport funny car.
Yeah, a long time between drinks for Jim and Stephen Reid, but the funny car, the two competitors in funny car here tonight in the field of Top Alcohol, but here's Stephen Reid just waiting for those lights to tumble. And he stays and away he goes, starting to wind the funny car up, running down the quarter mile here tonight. Through he goes, runs a 6:12, 372 kilometres an hour.
Well, Stephen Reid running well. On screen now is Debbie Reid, and she's running up against Dean McLennan in a special Travel Air Tours Top Alcohol match race. This pair of local competitors decided that they would step up into Top Alcohol when the field wasn't full, and then through an entry technicality, I guess you'd call it, they were protested out of there. The raceway has decided, well, they're not going to leave two good cars in the pits, and this pair will run a best-of-3 match race. They've been running very evenly this afternoon. Dean McLennan over against the wall. No problems for Debbie Reid. She's through with a 690 at 304, but hey, that was a wild ride.
Yeah, the replay showing it graphically here, clipping the fence there, but keeping the car well under control, Dean McLennan.
Caltex Ampol Car Care bringing us the 1998 Nightfire Championships as we move into round one of Wreckers Hotline Top Comp Eliminator.
And the two competitors coming to the line now, Steve Swinscoe and the Porter Brothers dragster there, the Ragged Edge car out of Toowoomba of Graham Porter.
Graham Porter, I think, #1 qualifier this afternoon in the 6-second zone. Wreckers Hotline Top Comp is a dial-your-own handicap category. These guys nominate their own handicap time, and then that difference is programmed into the electronic computer on the Christmas tree. You see Steve Swinscoe had a head start, but he's not going anywhere anymore. Looks like this one will be a freebie for Graham Porter.
Yeah, Porter goes through with a 7:02 at 278 kilometres an hour.
This handicapping system really does level up the competition and provide some great close finishes. John Payne on screen now. He's currently second in the Wreckers Hotline Top Comp series, and he's taking on Scott Jansen. Not much of a burnout there from Scott Jansen, though.
No, probably the conditions out here at Willowbank Raceway today quite mild, in fact, but we'll wait and see how they go here. But a problem there for Jansen, and John Payne winding up this Corvette. Watch him go as he runs through the quarter mile, 7:60, 276 kilometres an hour.
I can't believe the amount of breakage here this afternoon and this evening, Paul. We haven't seen this many damaged cars at one event in I don't know how many years.
Russell Schaefer now, and Russell from Caloundra, the Caloundra Wreckers dragster, taking on John Moll.
John Moll in this supercharged Commodore. Once again, the handicapping system can level up the competition between a dragster and a sedan and provide a fantastic category of racing.
Undoubtedly one of the reasons for the success of this category, Robert, the variety of cars in it, and I think this is really a classic example of that.
Russell Schaefer, a former modified champion, has stepped up now to the supercharged ranks in Top Comp. John Moll is out in front. Cross the line first, but he breaks out, runs quicker than that handicap time. He loses.
Yeah, Russell Schaefer being the winner and continues on into the next round. So the crowd there, the crew looking pretty pleased as Tommy Coonan now comes to the line.
Tom Coonan in the CF Performance supercharged Ford LTD up against this amazing BMW 850 of Alfie Sabello.
This would have to be, in fact, one of the quickest BMWs, if not the quickest BMW in the world. And
well, the car certainly the quickest down the quarter mile, has run 7.0, I think, in the past. Alfie up from Sydney, enjoying his racing at Willowbank Raceway. Of course, his home track of Eastern Creek is closed to championship drag racing. So I think he's going to become probably a lot more familiar with that New England highway up here to Willowbank Raceway at Ipswich.
well, an LTD up against the BMW, and they're out there going pretty well. Sabello, Coonan, who gets it? Coonan, 786, 276.
Sabello too quick, another breakout. Now we move into Crowler Racing Products Competition Eliminator. It's round 2. These guys race on handicap, but it's on the National Performance Index system. They're chasing points in the Australian Championship from New South Wales, Ray Walker, and he's up against, I think it's Gladstone's Colin Burke.
Burke gets away well. Walker's starting to charge at him now, waiting to see. Walker's up to about level pegging, drives straight past him, a 779, 271 kilometres.
Ronnie Newton now in the HeadSense Roadstar. Competition Eliminator brought to us by Crowler Performance Products. Wayne Cartledge in the dragster is the defending Australian champion in Competition Eliminator. There's the number 1 on the air scoop, all the way up from Melbourne for the Car Care Nightfires.
Ron Newton's done quite a bit of work on this car since we last saw it at Willowbank Raceway. A new front on it, trying to get a slight advantage there. He's out in front now. Let's just wait and see how he goes.
Cartledge is coming at him, not soon enough. Ronnie Newton puts away the Aussie champion, 850 at 244 kilometres an hour.
Next pairing to come forward out of Cairns this time, Mike Tinney. And Mike, one of the Northern Queensland champions who've made the big track down to Willowbank Raceway this weekend. In fact, Rob, we've got competitors from all over Australia here for the Caltex Ampol Car Care meeting.
Well, Mike Tenney running in the B-altered class, and he has been running extremely well. Looks like he's on his own here. No competitor in the other lane, and automatic win. Let's see just how hard he'll run it. Leaves the line hard.
Testing the car and taking every opportunity to run it hard down the quarter mile, but easing right off there, and we'll see him in the next round of racing.
He's had the top qualifiers by. He's going to have to race for it from here. Superstock Eliminator now, brought to us by Crane Cams. Once again, we pick up the action in round 2, and it's John O'Carney in the John William Auto Sales Pontiac.
Taking on this time Colin Lloyd, the HeadSense Commodore, and Colin just moving this car to the line. It's going to be a good race this time. A tough competitor, both tough competitors in fact, and both have had wins out here before at Willowbank Raceway, Rob, so can they do it here tonight?
Well, John O'Carney has replaced the manual transmission, put an automatic in there, but he has given an automatic win to Colin Lloyd. O'Carney with a red light. He'll go across the finish line first, but it doesn't matter. He left the start line too soon, red lighted his chances away, and I guess he just became a spectator for the rest of the Ampol Caltex Car Care Nightfire.
Joy Sluter now driving the C&J Racing Falcon Hardtop, taking on the Ford of David Lowndes, the early model Cortina, a Krager Performance Cortina in fact, and about a 64 model.
So a pair of Fords. The difference is Joy Sluter running in the modified sedan classes, limited to a single 4-barrel carburetor, a flat tapered camshaft. Does have a big block engine up there though. He gets out well, and another red light, this time for the POM. Dave Lowndes has red lighted away in the Krager car, and it'll be Joy Sluter moving into the next round of Superstock Eliminator.
So Joy Sluter there running a 984, and he'll be back in the next round. Meanwhile, our Willowbank officials keeping the track in tip-top condition. Kim Petterwood, the Lifestyle Speedflow Products Pontiac, comes to the line.
Kim, of course, normally runs Pro Stock Eliminator, but with no Pro Stock category, these cars are eligible to drop back into Super Stock Eliminator and run on handicap. He's facing the number 1 qualifier, Graham Walker, up from Sydney in that Commodore. This really should be a crackerjack race ball.
Yeah, that car really surprised a lot of people in qualifying this afternoon. Been running well all day, this car of Walker, so great to see him here joining us tonight at Willowbank Raceway. It's off to a good start, going pretty well, pedalling pretty hard. The Lifestyle car starting to charge back, but wait and see. Yes, straight through he goes, 802, 270 kilometres an hour.
previously on Wreckers Hotline Drag Racing 98, we've had a look at how you could get involved in drag racing at the street meet level. On today's show, what we're going to do is have a look at the 2 sedan categories in Group 3 sportsman classes. We're talking about Superformance Super Street Eliminator and Craigar Performance Super Sedan. In Super Street Eliminator, we're looking at cars that qualify between 11 seconds and 12.99, and many are similar to Brett Battersby's Monaro here, a car that started as a very, very nice street car, was just developed, modified a little bit more, and then Brett decides to put on some fuel injection and go faster still, and he finds himself running solidly in the 11-second zone. Many of the cars in Super Street are just like that. What's basically a street car, still with full interior, full upholstery, carpeting, no big wheel tubs and huge tyres on the rear, all steel panels, and wouldn't take a lot of work to put it back on the street on Saturday night. From a mildly modified street car, we move into what looks like an almost identical HK Monaro. Difference here though is that Rob Thompson's car has been heavily lightened. Fiberglass bonnet, guards, boot, anything that he can do to get some weight out of this car, make it faster with the same set amount of horsepower. A larger small block Chevy engine in there, around 380 cubic inches, fuel injection once again. But inside the car, boy oh boy, there's nothing in there for comfort. It is just the basics. Driver's seat, that's it. Anything that can come out of this in the way of weight has come out. There's bigger wheel tubs, it takes far, far bigger tyres down the back, more safety bars because the car's faster, and a little bit more involved in the suspension work. But basically this is the progression from our Super Street car through to this, which we find in Craigar Performance Super Sedan, and then of course we can move on to a full purpose-built race car. From the Super Street car through to the rather basic Super Sedan, we then move on to, I guess, what you'd call the top of the range. A car like Les Nagy's Independent Fuel Supplies Magna, a late model body, the car purpose-built race car, full chassis, constructed in much the same way you'd find any competitive super stocker or even a pro stock car. So what's one of these like to drive? Well, I picked the middle of the range, so to speak, to try it out, and very, very impressive. It left the line a lot harder than I would have ever thought. As you'd probably expect, because it doesn't have a full chassis through it, the car tends to squirrel a bit and move around in the top end, but all in all I can say is it's a great time. Craigar Performance Super Sedan, what a category.
So it's the semi-final now of Travel Air Tour's Top Alcohol. Brisbane's Stephen Reid, this time running through on a solo run. He in fact was scheduled to run against Stan Tyndall, but Stan Tyndall having problems here today. We've since found that it was a broken camshaft in the engine that's put him out tonight. So Stephen Reid to go through on a solo pass.
Tanya Campbell caught up with him in the pits before the run.
Huge attrition rate in Top Alcohol tonight has seen you after round one going straight into a final berth with Gary Phillips.
Yeah, I don't like to get to a final like that. I'd rather be racing people, but and after the first round there, and I saw the cars braking and the solo runs and that, so I thought I'd do a half decent burnout to sort of keep the spectators on the hill happy, and might even look a little bit better on TV.
There's no doubt about these funny cars doing good burnouts.
Stephen Reid looking pretty confident there with himself here tonight at Willowbank Raceway. So just moving the family funny car in, the pre-stage light on the Christmas tree there, blowing pretty well here tonight. Away he goes, winding up this funny car, and always wanting to extend himself here. Through he goes, 593, 383 kilometres an hour.
Very good pass from Reid.
Gary, despite a controversial start in Top Alcohol this evening, the round one win for you has indeed won the 1998 championship.
Yeah, we're going to collect it. Well, we're not going to collect it, but we'll claim it right now. Yeah, that's given us enough of a points buffer to, with the bye in the next round, to have an unassailable lead, if that's the correct word.
And a 575 in qualifying has got to be putting you in a good position to take out tonight's event.
We just take it one race at a time. We had the fuse pretty short on the 575 just to see how quick it would run. It was right on the edge of the razor blade.
Gary Phillips has been awarded the first round win. Apparently the Andorra officials were unsided with that incident on the sideline, and he's been given the benefit of the doubt. I guess some of those decisions go for you, some go against you, so they all even up in the end. Gary's just going to idle it down for this win, and looks like the crew will be getting ready for the next round.
So it's match race time again. The Travel Air Tours match race. Debbie Reed in the dragster, taking on the Castrol funny car of Dean McLennan.
Well, Dean has been progressively stepping up with this car. He actually nominated in the modified eliminator down at the TAC Nationals in Calder last month and top qualified. Debbie Reed, she hasn't been running quite as quick as Dean. There's only about half a tenth of a second in it, but she's got 1-0 at the moment. 2-0, a red light by McLennan.
Would you believe it? Unlucky there for Dean McLennan, so Debbie Reed will take this one out, but Dean McLennan goes through, but Debbie Reed a 7:09, 303 kilometres an hour. But watch the crew, I think it might be a personal best that time for Dean McLennan.
Certainly was, it was into the 680s. Top Comp Eliminator brought to us by Wreckers Hotline. It's the semi-final. Tommy Coonan in the CF Performance Ford LTD. He put away Alfie Sabello in the first round. This time he's up against John Payne. John's the defending Top Comp champion, currently running second in the series this year.
Two pretty tough competitors coming up this time round, so just opening up the door there, and the crew going through that very well rehearsed routine with John Payne, but the Ford LTD looking absolutely magnificent under the lights here at Willowbank Raceway. The lights tumble down, a problem there, would you believe it, for Tommy Coonan.
Looked like a transmission the way the car tried to launch and then failed, and John Payne, boy, he's got everybody having problems beside him today, and he'll move into the final.
John, it seems that you're almost unstoppable these days. Another berth in yet another final.
Yes, that was a good run, but I don't know what happened to Tommy, but it's been a race of attrition tonight, and reliability is winning for us again, and so I have to thank my sponsors and crew for keeping me on track.
Wreckers Hotline Top Comp semi-final time now, and Graham Porter in the dragster taking on the dragster of Russell Schaefer.
And of course, Caltex Ampol Car Care bringing us the Nightfire Championships. Plenty of action. 219 competitors for this event. Schaefer he had a very good run at the third round of the Castrol New Year Series in February, and looks like he's going to continue that form up against Graham Porter. Porter was leading the championship at one stage, and Schaefer's out in front. Porter looks like it's his turn to have trouble. Look at the smoke out of that car. Schaefer gets the win.
Yeah, the replay there showing him in trouble.
Russell, a relative newcomer to the Top Comp field and into your first final.
Yeah, unbelievable. The day went perfect, the car went perfect. I'm just so pleased.
The old engine back there is chugging along like a steam train. Anything major?
No, I don't think so, just a little bit warm, that's all. No drama. We'll win this final.
Semi-final time in Crane Cam's Super Stock Eliminator. These guys all scoring points to the Performance Wholesale Super Comp Series. And of course, Colin Lloyd, well placed in that series at the moment in the HeadSense Commodore. He's taking on the Pro Stock car of Kim Petterwood, the Lifestyle Speedflow Products car.
So as we said earlier, a big field out here today, and it's been great racing all afternoon, but Colin Lloyd's going pretty well. Here comes the Pontiac. The Pontiac 797 245.
Colin Lloyd shut off pretty early, and there's the reason why. A red light on the tree, handed it over to Kim Petterwood pretty early.
Kim Petterwood, you've done it again. Through to the final of Crane Cam's Super Stock Eliminator. And how do you like your chances in the final?
Pretty good, I hope. Pretty good, yeah. Joy's probably running pretty quick tonight, so it'll be an interesting race.
Joy Schluter moved through to the final on a bye run. Tested the car through to the 1,000-foot mark, then just cruised it the rest of the way.
Jai Schluter got the solo through to the final in Crane Cam's Superstock Eliminator against the Pro Stocker of Kim Petterwood. How do you like your chances?
Kim's a good racer, and I think it's going to be a tough ask, and I think it's just going to be the best man to the finish line wins. It's going to be a tough ask, and good luck to both of us.
Semi-final now of Crower Competition Eliminator, and Mike Tinney from Cairns to take on the car of Ray Walker from Sydney.
Mike Tinney was number 1 qualifier. Here he is in the semi-final, and there is a fair fist of bonus money up for grabs from HeadSense cylinder heads. The way it works is you get a few dollars if you top qualify, but if you top qualify and go on to win, you get more. Now that hasn't happened yet this season, so each event that money is jackpotted and jackpotted and jackpotted. Tinney's got his, I don't know whether he's aware of it, I think he's got his eyes set on it. He's come out with a clean green. Ray Walker's chasing him. This is not going to be an easy run.
No, Mike Tinney's going well, holds it all the way, and Tinney goes through with a 791, 269.
Have a look at this in the replay. The dragster was trying to make some inroads, but just couldn't catch him.
Well, Mike Tinney, a 791 in the semi-finals of Competition Eliminator. You're through to the finals, mate. How do you reckon you'll go?
Hopefully make it all worthwhile. It'll be great. We had a bit of trouble this afternoon, but we've sort of come on top of it again, so hopefully we can make it worthwhile, all the trouble.
Does it matter that you've dropped your index, damaging your index on that particular pass, do you think?
Well, Ray can run more mile an hour than I did, so I haven't no choice but to run it out the back door, so we'll just see how we go.
Like Jai Schluter, Ron Newton in the HeadSense Roadster got through to the final on a bye run. He had the opportunity once more to test the car off the start line, but these guys don't want to run quicker than their index. It makes their index harder in the next round, so like Jai Schluter, he backed off towards the finish line.
Ronnie Newton, an easy run on that pass into your final of Competition Eliminator. How do you think he'll go against Mike Tinney?
He just knocked his index around pretty bad, so I think we can have a bit of a decent shot at it. It's the first final I've been in with this car, so I'm pretty happy with it.
Well, you've certainly saved your index for that, so you'll give it every shot in the final, I imagine.
Yeah, good shot at the tree and good run, and we might be in there with a chance.
It's final time now for all the support categories of the Caltex Ampol Car Care Night Fires. First one up is Performance Wholesale Lenati Junior Dragster. Dallas Everett taking on Mark Allen. Allen over there on the other side of the racetrack won the Castrol New Year Series, and he looks like he's the form driver.
They're driving the Knight Family Junior Dragster, goes through for the win, runs a 10.05, 94 kilometres an hour.
Into Car Care Super Gas Eliminator now. David Goldie in the Pacific Performance Monaro up against Dale O'Dwyer. Super Gas heads up.
Here we go, the two Monaros, the 4-door up against the 2-door. David Goldie and Dale O'Dwyer. It's Goldie who goes through, yes, 10.04, 191.
Moving on to the next final, and it's Super Performance Super Street Eliminator. Ross Munster in the Lockyer Engine Reconditioners Holden, and he'll be taking on Ray Ross. And Ray is very, very hot off his win at the TAC Australian Nationals just last month down at Calder Park Raceway. These guys well placed in the Super Performance Super Street Series. Clean greens, the handicap applies. Ray Ross is starting to chase him down.
Got to pedal pretty hard. Ross Munster's a tough competitor. He's out there in front. This is pretty close. It's Munster, 12.02, 177 kilometres an hour for the win.
Next up, it's Modified Bike Eliminator brought to us by Pipe Masters Motorcycle Exhausts at Main in Brisbane. Stephen Jurgensen switched to a Suzuki, and he'll be taking on Trevor Sage.
The Yamaha of Trevor Sage goes well. This is wait and see how they go. The Yamaha.
Jurgensen a little bit untidy off the start line, and I think Trevor Sage looks over his shoulder and says, that'll do, 11.68, 164 kilometres an hour, and I'll take the points.
So the final now of Prager Performance Super Sedan, and Terry Agland out of Sydney taking on Alan Farrer in the Commodore.
Farrer's been having a fairly good season in this Commodore. Terry Agland used to run a supercharged engine in the Camaro till he rolled the car at Eastern Creek, and now he's come back into Super Sedan with the naturally aspirated engine. This is close. Farrer just a 970, 216 kilometres an hour.
Final now of Tenlo Race Cars Modified Eliminator. Dave Ferricks taking on the car of Anthony Selva.
A Ford Cleveland down the back of the dragster for Selva. It's all Chevy power for Dave Ferricks in the Piranha dragster, and this is going to be close.
Dave Ferricks pedaling pretty hard. Anthony Selva side by side. Ferricks 834, 252.
In Morgan and Wacker Comp Bike Eliminator, Pete Cochran ran Daniel Peaty in the semi-final. This is it here. It was about the best race of the bracket in actual fact. Daniel Peaty just made it through to the final. Now the other semi-finalist was John Parker on a bye run, but he was leaking oil behind the start line. The Andrew officials shut him down. Guess what? He didn't make it to the final. Here we have the final of Morgan and Wacker Comp Bike Eliminator, and Daniel Peaty has a solo to take the trophy, the points and the money.
Well, you take a win's a win, and you'll be pretty happy to be able to go out here a winner tonight. So winding up down the quarter mile here, Daniel Peaty for Morgan and Wacker Competition Bike Final, and he goes through with 817, 252 kilometres an hour.
Welcome back to Wreckers Hotline Drag Racing 98. We're into the serious part of the Caltex Ampol Car Care Nightfire Championships. It's Crane Cam Super Stock Eliminator, the final. Kim Petterwood in the Lifestyle Speedflow Pontiac to take on Jai Schluter in the Ford Hardtop.
Yeah, big moment here in fact for Jai Schluter. Rob, I think this would be his first final.
Yes, I know he hasn't had a win. I'm not sure whether he's made a runner-up before, but he has been running very competitively. He gets away well. Red light for Kim Petterwood. Jai Schluter takes out the Nightfires.
Jai Schluter drives it all the way through. 967, 163.
Have a look at this on the replay. Petterwood came at him. He only red lighted by a couple of thousandths. He could have won it.
Oh, Kim's a tough racer, and I really didn't expect that from Kim. Since I was a kid, I've been sitting in the stands watching Kim, and he's one of my idols, and it's a pretty tough moment for me actually taking the win off Kim. I'd like to thank Jack Brothers, Converter Shop, Perfect Sound Car Audio, the crew. They've done a tremendous job, the family. I'd like to thank Karina for her support, Mum and Dad. I'd like to thank Dad, the partner in the car. That's the main thing. Thanks.
Good on you, mate. Well done.
Well, Jai Schluter, obviously a big moment for him, his first win in Superstock Eliminator. Now here's Mike Tenney in Crowell Racing Products Competition Eliminator. He's up against Ron Newton. Tenney was the top qualifier. He may be able to pick up all that bonus money. He's got a lot of those Andrew contingency stickers on the side of that car as well. So all in all, I think nearly $2,000 in bonus on top of the prize money if he can win this race. Don't discount Ronnie Newton though. Newton's come out with a good light. He is really putting a lot of pressure on Mike Tenney.
Mike Tenney starting to charge him there at about half distance, and through he goes, 793, 266 kilometres an hour for the win.
Got there comfortably in the end, but I thought Newton was going to have him.
Mike Tenney, you've done it. Winner of Crowell Competition Eliminator here today at the Nightfire Championships. 793 in the final against Ronnie Newton. You're the winner.
You beauty. Unreal.
Mate, I've got
worked hard for that one, I can assure you.
I have a surprise for you too, because you top qualified today and took out the meeting. You win $550 extra from Head Cylinder Heads. It's been jackpotting for a while. Extra dollars.
All right, that's what we like to hear. A bit extra money. It helps pay the airfares and everything, because we come from Cairns, so it's a fair bit of travelling involved. So that'll be great.
Moving on now to Wreckers Hotline Top Comp Eliminator Final, and we have Russell Schaefer taking on John Payne.
Battle of the Wreckers, GDM Wreckers on John Payne's Corvette, Caloundra Wreckers on the Dragster, and it's Wreckers Hotline Top Comp Eliminator. But this really is what Top Comp is all about. The fast, supercharged cars, the sedans, mixing it up with the open cars like Dragsters and Altereds, and final time. And of course there's a lot of bonus money at stake at the end of the series, and a red light for John Payne won't give him any more points. Russell Schaefer's going to get this one. Going to drive it through, comes up with a 7:45 at 288 kilometres an hour. Have a look at this in the replay. Brian Prince, the crew chief, is sort of stunned, I think. Russell Schaefer's guys, they're happy.
Russell, the seemingly unstoppable John Payne actually stopped himself with the red light, but it was still a very decisive win for you in Wreckers Hotline Top Comp Eliminator.
Yeah, thanks very much. It must have been close. I knew it would be hard to beat, and we just did the best we could.
With $17,000 in bonus money up for grabs, let's update the Winter's Smash Repairs Track Championship scoreboards. In Performance Wholesale Lenati Junior Dragster, Mark Allen is in great form out front. Ross Munster is back on top in Superformance Super Street, ahead of Paul DeBlane and Ray Ross. Pipe Masters Motorcycle Exhaust Modified Bike is close, with Scott Jurgensen in front of Trevor Sage. Craigar Performance Super Sedan sees Juan Kudnig in front of Alan Farah. Dave Ferricks is starting to look the goods in Kenlow Racecars Modified, while Morgan and Wacker Comp Bike is a battle between Gavin Spann and John Parker. Colin Lloyd heads Performance Wholesale Super Comp from Jai Sluter and John Sting. John Payne continues to make ground on Steve Swinsko in Wreckers Hotline Top Comp, and it'll be those two that fight out the championship.
Final time now of Travel Air Tour's match race, and I guess the question is, Rob, can Dee McLennan get a win here tonight? Debbie Reid seems to be in pretty good form.
Yeah, Dean's gone quick enough. He's ran into the 6.8 second zone for the first time in his career. Almost 200 miles an hour. That's his target. That's what he's aiming for. I guess this is like a dead rubber in the Davis Cup. Debbie's already won at 2-0, but Dean will be fighting for a little bit of pride here. Also using it as a tuning exercise before the Conacher Winter Nationals coming up in June, I'd expect. Debbie Reid, though, she has been the form driver. She's been mowing him down on the Christmas tree. She's done it again. Look at that. A huge hole shot.
It's going, is he charging at her? This is close. Debbie Reid, 697, 298 kilometres an hour for the win.
Have a look at this. McLennan comes on and he does run 200.
Debbie, match racing tonight has paid off for you. 3 out of 3. You don't get it much better than that, do you?
No, that was pretty good, but I got lucky. I mean, Dean red lighted in one round, and I don't know what happened to him then, but the other round he clipped the side wall. But yeah, no, it's good. I enjoyed it.
Now Debbie's husband Steve Reid behind the wheel of the Jim and Stephen Reid Transport funny car. It's the final of Travel Air Tour's Top Alcohol. He's taking on the #1 qualifier and reigning and again national champion Gary Phillips.
Yeah, been a memorable meeting here tonight at Willowbank Raceway for the Top Alcohol cars. As we've been saying, an afternoon of attrition, but these two very worthy champions in the final here tonight. Jim and Stephen Reid, a little while since we've seen them in the winner's circle, but a tough competitor they're taking on here in Gary Phillips.
I believe Gary has the owners of Lucas Oils from the United States in his pit area tonight, so I'm sure that he'll want to try and win that one for his sponsors. This is the finale at the Caltex Ampol Car Care Nightfire Championships. Listen to those revs, Bill. These guys are serious. They're at it. This is championship points, but I think Reid wants him. He's out in front. Look at the dragster, the speed. 581, 384.
So Gary Phillips takes another one. Watch it on the replay here. Stephen Reid gets out first, but this dragster has phenomenal speed, starting to catch him around about half track, and Gary Phillips goes through for another victory here at Willowbank.
Gary, Steve may have got you on the lights, but the grunt of this Lucas Oils dragster took you to the win.
It's all that slippery stuff in the oil pan. Yeah, I was trying. I guess I was a little bit lazy up there on the light, but it ain't over till it's over, and I guess we won that one too.
Well, congratulations, Travel Air's Tour Top Alcohol Eliminator winner.
That's it for the Caltex Ampol Car Care Nightfires. All the details are on the internet. The next event here at Willowbank, the Coca-Cola Wild Bunch, will bring you that right here on Wreckers Hotline Drag Racing 98.